Happy Friday. Happy Friday. It's Friday and I'm running in. Hello, every beautiful body out there. If you're not familiar with me, I don't know how you can't be at this point because you should be tuning in every single weekday to me and my friend, DeAngelo Crane. But my name is Blair G. Hervey. I'm the founder and CEO of The Corporate Strategist. And always, as always, I am joined by my colorful co-host, my bestie, and my soul friend of 20 plus years, DeAngelo Crane. Say hi, D.
Well, hello, bestie. I'm so excited to be here with you again as one of only two people to work at the Corporate Strategist. I'm very excited always to be in your presence and always glad to be here with you again here on the Black DEIBA Collective Live, here to spread love and light as always.
I love that. And a big welcome to our guest, Natasha Wade. We are so excited to have you. Hi, Tasha.
Hi, everybody. Good to meet you.
I love that energy already, and welcome everyone to the Black DEIBA Collective Live. D, go ahead and get us started, please, and thank you.
Before we get us started, I just gotta say, you know, I have the pleasure of being surrounded by some pretty amazing Black women in my life, and anytime I get to speak to two of them at the same time, I just get really giddy. So if I'm like overly excited today, just excuse me because I'm talking to you. Don't understand how we also have our board of directors and Blair, you're part of it, but Natasha is one of those people who's on my board of directors who I call up pretty frequently and say, "Ooh, give me some advice on this one right here." We bounce really good ideas off each other. So I'm excited about this conversation today. And so what do we do here every day on the Black DEIBA Collective? We do what we call the art of the check-in. During 2020, we asked leaders to really engage in deeper conversations with their employees. And the way to do that was what I have coined the art of the check-in. And that means just going a little past that service level conversation and really being intentional in listening and being vulnerable and learning some empathy for what your employees may be enduring or going through. And so we're going to practice that right now here. First of all, with our guest, I call her Natasha. I don't know about this new Tasha. I call her Natasha. Okay. Tasha, how's your heart? How's your mind? How's your soul? How are you feeling today?
Yes. Well, first of all, I have begun a 4-day weekend, so I'm straight. I am super straight. You know what I'm saying? Let's start there.
Yeah.
I think otherwise, I will say the other side of me is feeling a little about a couple of other things. You both may have seen the whole footage around the city by Karen. That's been on my mind. And then, you know, there's just been some other personal things. You know, every Black woman has a once upon a time, my white girlfriend broke my heart story. And I think I've sort of been processing that recently. So there's that, but I'm not going to let that get in the way of my 4-day weekend. You hear me?
I think that needs to be a show right there. My white girlfriend broke my heart story. That needs to be a show right there, okay, about what they haven't learned, what you need to be learning. How you be engaged in relationships with people and you not learn what you need to learn. But okay, that's a whole nother show. Okay. Hello, somebody, okay? Blair Hervey, how's your heart? How's your mind? How's your soul? How's your edges today? And for people who are just tuning in, I asked her about her edges because she always talks about her edges. So it's not, I don't want to get in trouble. Don't cancel me, okay? But yes, Blair, how are you feeling today?
You know what? I'm feeling great. My edges are hidden amongst this banner, which I am very grateful for today because they're quite natural. They are living their best life and they did not want to lay down. Not for me, not for nobody. Ultimately, I'm feeling great. You know, I think I told you yesterday that I stayed up 24 hours the other day. I'm writing my very first book, Making 100K Without a Degree, your mental growth guide to financial freedom. And I'm still on a high from that. I've been having conversations about a book tour and all kinds of stuff. So, you know, the entrepreneur is entrepreneuring. You feel me? I'm feeling great. How are you feeling today? How's your head? How's your heart? How's your soul?
I am great. There's lots of stuff going on. Lots of stuff. Hopefully next week you will catch up. I'll have a big announcement next week about something I'm doing to step my toe in entrepreneurship. Just to put a little baby toe in there. So we'll talk more about that next week. But this weekend I'm excited because, you know, I think another conversation we have is there's still a need for Black spaces. And I think there is still a need because it's about safety. And so this weekend, part of Pride celebrations that are happening across the country in the month of June. There's also, in addition to that, there's also Black Pride, where we can really kind of we can celebrate with our people and have a little bit flavor to it. And so this weekend is one of the largest ones, which is in DC. And so there's lots of events. And it's really more about community and seeing people you haven't seen and engaging with your friends and just really being able to live comfortably in your skin and celebrating being able to do that. So I'm excited about a long weekend of doing that and just celebrating all that is Black and queer. So that's what my weekend will be spent doing.
Oh, that sounds like a book too. Celebrating all that is Black and queer. So you heard it first here on the Black DEIBA Collective Live. Well, y'all, we have had a great opportunity, of course, to talk amongst ourselves. Now we're going to give it back to you all, talk back to you, inviting our guest, Tasha, to join us for this very valuable conversation centering Black women and hiring us. But before that, just so you all know a little bit about Tasha, she has 10 plus years of recruiting as well as life and career coaching experience of all levels and coaching all levels of leaders, particularly Black leaders. She also has 3 or more years of DEIB, so that's diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging experience, launching and leading diversity initiatives in the corporate space. So again, welcome, Tasha.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
Absolutely. Now, we always like to have a clear understanding of, our guest's journey and their paths into the DEIB space, DEIBA, that's what we call it here, DEIBA space, because it's not for the faint of heart. So what actually brought you into this space? And maybe what was that pivotal moment that said, I need to be the person that's taking charge in this area?
Yeah. So first of all, I think honestly, every Black person probably has some sort of informal DEIBA experience, right? I think everything that we do, and if you're passionate about this work, no matter what field you're in, you're probably trying to inject your flavor or angle into whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's customer service or whether it's project management. You're always trying to put an inclusive lens to it. But I will say that 2020 was a pivotal year for all of us, right? Sure. The murder of George Floyd, murder of Breonna Taylor, and that actually sort of set me off on kind of a ramp of doing this more formally, right? So not only in the corporate space was my employer creating more room for us to lean into this work more heavily, but even just in my own personal journey, I made a very firm decision to focus on Black women specifically because of what was happening or what was not happening with the Breonna Taylor case.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Hey, you're in great company, not only here, but, a lot of our guests have said if they have launched a company within the past 3 years, that it was launched because of the heightened emotions around the killing of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and so many others. So I love that we're continuing this work and we're pushing folks to be less performative because the emotions were heightened then, but how's the work now? So we're going to check in with you about that, particularly as it pertains to this topic.
Absolutely.
All right. Malibu Sapolsky, author of Misbehave, MISS Behave, wrote, "The voice of the Black woman should always be herself. No edits, no erasures, no pressure, no expectations, no additions, no intruders." Today, as Blair shared, we're talking about Hire Her, the recruitment, retainment, and responsiveness to creating belonging for Black women in corporate America. So, Tasha, let's get into this. I've been noticing, I was just at dinner last night, and we were talking about our beloved Viola Davis. And Hollywood has really embraced diversity, especially ensuring that Black women are at the forefront of many of the movies and TV shows. I mean, we all have been raving over Queen Charlotte and the impact that has had. So what is Hollywood understanding about hiring and retaining and creating space of belonging for Black women that corporate America is not doing so well at?
I don't know. I think that's a good question. I even sometimes question if it's performative on the Hollywood end too, right? Like at the end of the day, we're all consumers, and there's huge money in Black women being portrayed on screen, and frankly, we're huge consumers. It is a little bit slower on the corporate side, but even as slow it is on the corporate side, I think the corporate side is even picking that up a little bit more because they also believe in optics. Like ultimately, I think we all have to, as a community, decide, is this just like a good show, a good performance? Is this all about optics? Or is this really about our voices really being valued on screen and frankly behind the scenes, right? Like, I'm very curious as to, yes, it's great to put Viola Davis on camera, and it's great to put all of these wonderful Black starlets on camera, but are we directing? Are you green lighting our scripts? Are you also thinking about also making sure that unambiguously dark-skinned Black women are portrayed and celebrated, which I am personally loving to see, because remember back in the day, it was all about Halle Berry, right? And our lighter-hued sisters. So
yes, yeah, you're right.
Well, things are definitely evolving and changing. And I love that you brought up entertainment, DeAngelo, because I actually think about one of my favorite artists right now. I don't know if you know this, but I have loved Teyana Taylor since she was 16 years old. And I was telling a friend about this morning. I was like, wait a minute, I think I had a crush on her before it was legal to have a crush on her. I really just adored her style, her energy, and even her music. I think back then it was called Google Me. And that's something that I kind of use in a lot of my talks today. But when I think about Teyana Taylor, my friend and I shared the same sentiment this morning. She is someone that has just an abundance of talent, and she was leveraged even in Kanye West's video Fade, and she didn't even know it was coming out, but it really propelled his career, but it did not propel hers. So when I think about women who are often, like you said, these starlets, and they have so much light, but they don't get the shine that they need, whether it's in an entertainment or whether it's in the workplace, we are forced to pivot. And I love how Teyana Taylor has pivoted to being a director and creating a production company. What do you say to organizations out there who are not centering Black women and who are forcing us into these spaces where it's like, I'm going to have to pivot. Either I'm going to have to leave, I'm going to have to find a new role. What are you saying to those organizations to get them to focus more on the possibility of losing more of that Black talent, Black women talent?
I would say to them that they're going to lose a significant amount of money. So, I mean, there's been obviously studies that came out that said 80% of workers or associates or employees, they desire or prefer inclusive spaces or diverse workspaces, right? And then there is, because I brought my receipts, because we got to make sure we have our receipts lined up. But there was something in here, and I'm trying to find it.
Is it an article? I love a good article and some data.
Right. So, okay. So there was also another one that said 2 out of 3 Americans told us their social values now shape their shopping choices. That was 45%, likely representing well over 100 million shoppers believe retailers should actively support Black-owned businesses and brands. So your consumers and your workers are telling you that you need more inclusive. You need to be more inclusive in the way that you design products and services, and you need to be more inclusive as you build these workspaces. Plus, there's research to say that women-led firms and businesses that are ran by women are more profitable. So we have all these receipts and statistics that are saying, like, hire us. We're going to make you more money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The other thing, though, is that ultimately Black women are also leaving companies to start their own businesses. We're like one of the fastest groups when it comes to entrepreneurship. Yes. So we are not waiting for majority white controlled businesses to accept us. We will build our own table if we need to, and we'll build our own castle, and we'll leave you behind.
That's right. Ooh, now that's well said too. Not thinking about us can put you in the position to be left behind.
Yeah, you're either going to have us, either have us as an asset or competition, but you're going to have to choose one at some point.
Ooh, that was a word.
That's a word. She dropped gems. She dropped gems. Phew, just dropped the mic down. So I'm an organization. What are the 3 things I should be doing when we talk about the work we're doing? What should we be doing one thing to retain, one thing to recruit, and one thing to, I say, respond to ensuring women have belonging, Black women have belonging in the workplace. So what should we be doing when we think about those 3 top things of this conversation? What should organizations be doing to help that continuum along?
I would say, number 1, stop tokenizing us. like hire more of us, right? Like there's nothing like being the only one in an environment where people are also just not culturally humble or competent, and always having to deal with microaggressions, or always having to be the representative of your race or of your gender or both. So number one, like stop being performative and actually hire a multitude of us. Like I would be able to go, like to be able to go on a Zoom call and it doesn't look completely monochromatic or homogenous outside of like that one little black dot. The other thing is make sure that when you hire them, you give them the full support, whether it's coaching, sponsorship, you know, education, training, like give them the full support that they need in order to be able to really succeed and thrive in that role. Because you've also heard about the Black Cliff, right? And so hiring women into these spaces and you're not giving them the support, and then you're hiring them into these like really sometimes volatile situations and really expecting them to be the superwoman of the situation, but you're not giving them the support, right? So they need to be able to have supportive leadership teams, supportive resources, maybe coaches, things like that, to really show that you believe in them. And I think number three is, well, first of all, I'd like to add a bonus. Third of all, pay us. You know what I'm saying? Like we're making 62 cents on a dollar, on 62 or 65, I think it's not 64 cents to every white man's dollar. You need to pay us for the labor that we're putting in, because on top of all that, women are also doing the majority of like the inclusion and diversity work and stuff like that. So on top of the actual jobs that we're doing, we're also kind of serving as like sort of pseudo DEI officers, and y'all not even paying us. And number four is just like as a bonus is just work on yourself when it comes to your own cultural humility. That's right. And your own cultural competence, because really that's like 90% of it. Like do no harm, right? Black women come into these spaces and sometimes the people that they're expecting to really support them, their leaders, their coworkers, their colleagues, are exacting more harm because they're not working on themselves and their own understanding of other people's cultures and other people's experiences.
Yep. That's true. Like, increasing that cultural competency and cultural sensitivity is definitely one of the reasons we created this space for sure. But you're right. You have to check your biases. I think Crystal said that yesterday as well on one of our shows. So of those 3 R's, it sounds like, you know, the 3 of us are on the same page when it comes to these metrics as it pertains to recruitment, retainment. DeAngelo says responsiveness. I think you said as well, but I call it readiness. And when I'm referring to readiness, I'm talking about either preparing Black women or those underrepresented leaders to lead, so to be promoted, or to become much more well-versed in a space where they can create much more diverse teams. Because leading should all be the same, but leading a diverse team is different. We're talking about inclusive leadership. So when it comes to Black women and that third R of readiness, what do you think is missing from the training programs? You did mention one, which is the coaching and the sponsorship, but what else is missing from these training programs?
To be honest, I think it truly is about this belief. I think if I were to really pick one thing, I think that when people think about development, they always think it's about making historically excluded groups more white. They never really they never really come to the table from a appreciative mindset of this is the culture add, this is the value add that DeAngelo is bringing to the table. Here's how he's showing up. He may not necessarily fit within this European sort of mind mold or mindset that I've, you know, maybe traditionally been conditioned with, but he brings his own flavor to this. And to be honest, I don't even think it's a skill set. It's just a matter of appreciating the culture add that your person is bringing to this table and being able to be a champion of those gifts, right? Being able to talk with other leaders, talk with other people and say, look, DeAngelo brings a different set of thinking. He brings a different cultural perspective. Let's make sure we appreciate that instead of trying to force DeAngelo to, like, DeAngelo's a triangle, quit trying to force him to be a circle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so for me, it's the belief that's missing. I think people love to develop us, but they don't want to take the time to believe in us and really check their own mindset in terms of how are they even viewing us in the first place?
That is what I would say to you. When I think about those programs that's missing is the accountability on the end, the metrics of it, of where's the trajectory of Black Americans and Black women after they leave these programs. Because I would tell you this, I actually am, if you come to me, I'm gonna say, no, don't create a program. If you're gonna create something, get some sponsorship going on. And then make sure the people that are sponsoring these high performing talent that's always been in your organization, that have the same skill set and degree levels as their white counterparts, to make sure there's some metrics around how they're moving through the organization now that they have sponsorship, and what's your commitment and accountability to helping them move through the organization. So I love that we have these leadership development programs, but many companies do not have any metrics around what are happening to people after they leave these development programs. You can go to 20 of them and you still end up in the same place that you were at before you started. And that's where the problem is.
And like I said, I think a lot of it is, again, always focused on the associate that's moving up versus giving the leaders that are leading them the tools to be able to be true allies and champions of those individuals. So that when you're building these programs, there really should be a dual approach of you're giving the associates the support that they need in order to be able to meet that skills gap, that belief gap, whatever that gap is for them to move up. But there also has to be a top-down approach of how are the executives and senior leadership looking at this person's skills? Are they having a skills-based approach? Are they having a culturally appreciative approach so that when this person is moving throughout the organization, Blair doesn't have to be Tom. Blair can be Blair, and she can be appreciated for that.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's ironic that you use that name, but go ahead.
I mean, it's as simple as understanding. I love this, as simple as understanding that you might not think you as a leader need to go further than understanding that their hair may not be work appropriate. Well, maybe it is. Let's get over that, right? So it's understanding the nuances and those biases that you have as an individual is keeping you from promoting this person. So I love what you're saying, Tasha. Blair, did you have I'm sorry, I'm engaging the conversation, but Blair, did you have a question? I know I'm excited now.
No, it was your turn, but I did think about several situations where I've walked into a room for a presentation or just to be in a meeting, and I will never forget a woman was like, "What do you have on?" I will never forget that. And I remember, because I mean, it was during that time where I was really, I would wear my pencil skirts, honey. They would be 2 different prints or whatever the case may be. My hair may be a different color every week, but I knew my stuff. I was at the top of the leaderboard. I would run circles around y'all's presentations, but that's what you say when I walk in the room, instead of like what you said, Tasha, is embrace what's different. No, I don't have on a blue shirt and khaki pants, but guess what? I'm going to make sure that this audience understands the material in a way that you could never present to them. So yes, I love what y'all were saying there. I'm with you.
Well, Blair, I'm going to start this question with you because we're talking about Black women, and then I want to make sure bring you into the conversation a little bit. What, when we think about allyship, when we think about what can white women do differently to be better allies for Black women in the workplace? Let's talk about it. We mentioned it a little bit. Let's talk about it. So Blair, you first, and then Natasha, lean into this, please.
That's a great question. I mean, the person that asked me that question was a white woman. So I'll throw that out there. One of the leaders in that organization also, when I was interviewing for a position, asked me the question, how will you be able to command the attention of all these white guys? I wrote that in my book too, and I went into that story. And it's just this idea that we're automatically going to experience barriers because of what we look like. Well, heck yeah, we are, especially if you're the person that's nudging the white guy beside you to say, look at what she got on, or look at how she's presenting instead of, look at what she got on, look at how she's presenting. So if you want to be an ally, stop seeing your ally, like really, truly be actionable in that way. To your point too, when it comes to sponsorship, yes, financial sponsorship is number 1, but number 2, get out of our way. Like you are not the sole representation of diversity in this organization just because you're a woman. Actually, you have a ton of more privilege because you are white and because you are, I'm not going to say quote unquote diverse, but you have that level of or that dimension of diversity. Get out of our way, create space and link arms with us and say, what, absolutely, we need to be thinking about another leader. Blair has went through all the programs. She has applied that. She's been getting the results. Matter of fact, she should be the next person, not me. So those are 2 ways. I could go on and on, but those are 2 ways. What would you say, Tasha?
I'm thinking of 2 simple ways, and I'm going back to, the white girl that broke my heart. And I'm using this because, again, going back to what we said about, you know, you can either have me as an asset or you can have me as a competition. I feel the same way about our allies. Like, you can either become a co-conspirator or you can become a case study of what goes wrong. Mm-hmm. And so now I have to share what went wrong, and, you know, to a degree. So we all have these, I think, self-proclaimed white allies, white female allies that love to go on and on and on about how they love Black people, how they love Black women. They love inviting us to places. They love singing our praises in public until they get upset. Ooh. Until the white women tears come. Again, going back to City Bike Karen, right? People right now, that case is, you know, that people love to bring up, oh, she's volunteered for this and she's been so culturally sensitive in these places, blah, blah, blah. Great. Until she got upset. And I think it's really, really important for white women to, number one, first of all, study history, pick up a book, read the receipts, right? There's a cultural context for why we, you know, why things are the way they are, why Black women have to move the way they move, socio-political reasons. Like, there's all types of context to this that's already out there that we do not have to teach you. Mm-hmm. Right? So go read and educate yourself. But number two, when you're feeling uncomfortable about something, it's really important that you ask yourself why that is. Become very curious about yourself. Why is it? What am I so offended about? Why do I feel so angry in this situation? Like, and listen, okay, Natasha, okay, Blair, obviously you're coming at this from a different perspective than I am. Tell me what I'm missing. Yes, right? Be humble. Mm-hmm. Be humble and understand that we're not doing this for our health, right? Like, whenever we go through microaggressions or whenever we experience these different forms of psychological and physical violence, this is not because we enjoy doing this. This is not enjoyable for Black people to go through that type of trauma. So if we're bringing it up, it's for a reason. And the best thing that you can do if you're this compassionate ally, as you say you are, is even when you are level 10 angry, stop for a minute and say, Blair, mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit more about how you feel. Tell me a little bit more about how you would have approached this situation. Tell me how you're feeling. How do you want us to work together or work better together in the future? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm totally with you. You know, and I just have to shout out Junior League of Portland so I moved here to Portland, Oregon from Atlanta, Georgia about 5 years ago. I already expected and anticipated the culture shock and definitely experienced it. Aside from PDX Women of Color and Black Portland, which are two amazing groups, I joined the Junior League of Portland, which is predominantly white. And a lot of philanthropic nonprofits are predominantly white women for a lot of historic reasons, right? But this is an organization that has definitely demonstrated the things that we've said today, Tasha. They have gotten out the way. They have propelled me to be a leader even before I was ready to be a leader. They've provided programming. They've said all the things. And I think it's really important for us to be a part of organizations where, yes, white women have broken our hearts, but for us to go back into spaces and allow ourselves to be welcomed as well. So
yes, I agree with that. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, 30 minutes does go by. You did that. I appreciate that. I was excited about that conversation. Dee, I'm sure you have a good shout out for us, or did you have a fun question for Tasha before we move on?
I got a fun question. Natasha, you're a native Houstonian, correct?
Okay.
Your favorite Beyonce song?
Oh Lord.
Oh.
Okay, so I am going to say, what is it? Alien Superstar?
Okay. Oh, yes, that's a good one.
That must be from Renaissance.
It is.
Okay, I lost it with Renaissance. Okay.
Don't tell people. Shh, don't tell that live on TV. Oh, Lord Jesus.
TV, you better claim it. Okay, I love that. What's the shout out for today, Dee?
Our shout out for today is Jeffania, I'm probably not saying that right, but Jeffania Jones, who is founder and CEO of Strong Friend LLC. And Strong Friend LLC is created to provide life coaching, professional development, and business consulting to small businesses. So it's really about health and wealth. And she's really passionate about serving, inspiring, and motivating youth and young adults. So please check her out on LinkedIn. It's spelled JEFFONIA. Jeffonia Jones, who is the founder of The Strong Friend. So that's my shout out of the day, Blair.
Excellent. Well, hey, thank you again, Tasha, for joining us today and providing us with this wonderful and insightful conversation. You did that. I appreciate that. And to every single person out there, hey, we are here at 12 p.m. Pacific, Eastern, or 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every single weekday. But we're also embarking upon a new journey. We are going to be going to Afrotech. I'm speaking that into existence with your help. We are taking the Black DEIBA Collective live. We'll be interviewing people right there on the ground, but we definitely need your all sponsorship. So DeAngelo, hopefully if you can find it, can you share that link with folks today in a post? They can go donate as much as you want, but we are looking for up to $7,000, which will cover our flight, our stay, as well as our ticket and our entrance into Afrotech. So we appreciate y'all. Yes.
Well, one thing, we're off on Monday, so do not come looking for us on Monday. Monday's a holiday.
Oh, yeah,
so don't come looking for us on Monday. We are taking one day off. We need a breather, and we'll be back again on Tuesday. Okay, so catch us on Tuesday.
Well, no, actually use your Monday to catch up on some of our replays. So we'll make sure that we share that for you as well. All right, y'all, have a wonderful holiday weekend. Have a wonderful week, and we will see y'all on Tuesday. Bye now.
Bye.